Welcome. This is another episode of Dad Sharpens Dad. I'm your host, Trey Brown. Thank you so much for clicking in. This episode is going to be dedicated to practical, not rocket science, not theory, but practical things that we could be doing as dads to move the needle forward in fatherhood. A lot of dads probably ask themselves this question: am I doing enough? Well, the answer isn't, are you doing enough? The answer is, am I doing the right thing consistently? So now's the time to grab a pen and paper or open up the notes tab on your phone to take down this information. And number one on the list, be physically present. Now, we can be in the same space but not have any presence. Now, 5 minutes of physical presence beats an hour of distracted presence every day of the week. So that means put down the phone, sit next to them, get in their world. I mean, even if they're watching their favorite show on TV, our boys like to get right close. I mean, I'm sitting on the couch and they will get on the couch and push right up on me. And we have a huge L sectional. So it is super adorable. So when you're in the same room and you're sharing the same space, you could be having conversations about their interests. Hey, what do you think about this show? Who's your favorite character? What's the story about? You know, engage with what's happening in their world and not just try to modify the world to what your interests are. I'll be the first one to tell you that having a work phone and a personal phone, both of my phones day and night stay on silent because the two phones ringing, I used to get anxious just to know that I had to go to work, but I also need to pay attention to my personal phone. So both of those phones are on silent now. And when I get home, both of those phones go right on the counter. I'm not perfect, so sometimes it's the work phone, but not the personal phone. Say, you know, the information, whatever's happening, that does not matter right now. I'm going to be in their world, their space. I'm going to catch up on their day. I'm going to ask them questions. Hey, how are you feeling? Did you have a good day? Something that made you upset today. Did anyone say anything really funny? Entering their world and being physically present, that is something that's going to just add to the relationship with you and your child, especially if you do that more consistently. And that actually leans right into number two, which I was going to talk about: initiate conversation. It is so simple to just ask your kids about what's going on with them. Yeah, it's easy to ask them, how was your day? But ask specific questions. This is going to let your child know that you're interested in what's happening with them. You want to learn how they're thinking, how they're feeling. One question I try to ask is, what's something that you thought was very interesting today? Or what's something that was different today that happened? And that gets them out of the whole fine, good. You're modeling the thing that you want them to do as adults, and even one day as parents if they so choose to be parents. As they get older, that silence can create some distance, so you want to always initiate the conversation to keep that distance as small as possible in the most respectful way. And with conversating, you're going to find number three, which I would say their name with joy. If they mostly hear their name when they're in trouble, that's going to stick out. They're going to not look forward when you say their name. Now, the tone that you use, it teaches safety. It also creates some excitement and some joy with that connection. For example, if one of my kids didn't do something and I'm like, Kobe, it just sounds stressful to them. And it doesn't sound like, if they hear you in the distance, that you would have anything positive to talk about. It's going to give them the feeling that whatever you have to talk about is negative. So we want to be able to say their name with joy if we aren't already doing that. And along with keeping an inviting connection, I have number four, which is correction without crushing. I had to work really hard on this. A lot of my negative parenting experiences personally from my childhood, they kind of drove themselves from childhood to manhood and then to fatherhood. It was really difficult to practically implement these little changes. And also consider their mood, what happened during the day, what happened before this interaction, what they might have going on. I had to be more considerate. I had to be more sensitive because at the end, I wanted them to walk away with more information that helped them versus just an attitude that hurt them. A key takeaway to this is you're correcting what they did. You're not rejecting who they are. Correction without connection creates distance. You always want to show that you care first. I don't know how long ago I heard that whole saying about kids don't remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. I mean, that's true 100%. I remember in 7th grade when I brought home my first B ever. And I just knew my dad wasn't going to be happy about it. I don't remember the subject. I don't remember which quarter report card it was. I just remember just that look of disappointment, like, a B? That was his response. I guess I spoiled him with having all A's since kindergarten, but that's another story. Now remember, we're not just duplicating our experiences as parents that we had as kids. We're trying to make those things better. So that leads me to number 5. What we want to do is apologize when you are wrong. I know as a parent, a lot of times I don't feel like my kids deserve explanations, but I know if I did something wrong, I have to give myself time, and then I make sure I go back and apologize to my kids. In those moments, we have the best opportunity to correct what we did, and we want acceptance. So not just apologizing to your kid. I make it a point to say, hey, Camden, I messed up. I shouldn't have did this. I was really frustrated. Or I might say something hurtful just because, hey, I'm not perfect. Remember, I'm trying to be better myself. But in those moments, after I had time to reflect and maybe calm myself down, I'll go back to him and say, hey, you know what? Dad's had a really long day. I was really frustrated about something else. It's not as big of a deal, but I just want you to know I apologize for yelling at you. That wasn't called for. And while we teach our kids to do these with each other, and while I teach the boys to do this with each other and their sister, they know when I apologize, they'll say, I forgive you. We have hug, and we move past the moment. As our kids are learning things, a lot of times when we're practicing these new disciplines, a lot of times we're learning more effective ways to present ourselves, to carry ourselves as parents. And I think our kids can appreciate it when they know that we're just trying to do better. One of the strongest things I could say as a dad is the words, I was wrong. What it does is it models humility, it builds trust, and it even teaches accountability, which is going to be important in every single walk of life. Our kids don't lose respect when we apologize. It actually builds security. And when we're making the adjustments and we're making the changes, ultimately we're modeling who we hope they become as well through positive reinforcement. If you're not already doing this, you may want to implement it into how you communicate to your kids, which is speaking over their identity. Go beyond saying good job. I tell my kids, you are so smart, you are so thoughtful, you are so considerate, you are so helpful, you are so intelligent. There's something that I started doing with my daughter is at night, right before bed, I think of 10 things that I tell her, and I look her face to face and I say, Vivia, you are beautiful, you are helpful, you are so fun to be around, you are amazing. I tell her these things because she's going to go to bed knowing that she had a great experience with her dad. She's going to know who she's seen as from her dad. And I think who we let our kids know and teach them who they are, ultimately they're going to live up or down to the labels that we give them. Along with the words and the things and the ideas we give our kids, number 7, what we want to do is create predictable time. So let me give you some framework with how our week looks. Mondays is kids with dad. Mom gets time with her friends. Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays. Whoop, whoop. You should if you don't already. Wednesdays, date night. Thursdays, dad's night. Dad gets to see his friends. And Fridays, family Friday. So just creating these predictable times, our kids aren't wondering what's going to happen, but they also know and learn that we're creating an experience daily with them. Whether it's going to be something super fancy or super expensive, it could be inexpensive. It could be movie night at the house with fast food. Monday nights, I love to go to a restaurant. My kids do not like to go to a restaurant. I love to get off of work and not cook and let a server come up, bring us food, bring us the things. I don't want to stand in front of a stove after I worked all day Monday. So I like to go to a restaurant. My kids don't. They want to say, hey, Dad, let's just get drive-through. Can we get drive-through and watch a movie in front? Can we have a picnic in front of the TV? That's what my kids love Mondays. But the fact that they know how the week looks, they're not wondering what's happening. It's showing intentionality, which I think is important that we're teaching them now. hey, make good use of your time. Be good stewards of your time. Be good stewards of the things that you have. And speaking of being good stewards, number 8, you want to model the man that they want them to be. Or, have the characteristics of dad that you want your daughters to have. My kids are pretty social, but the thing that we're working on is looking other people in the eye, shaking a hand, addressing them, asking them questions. So what do I have to do as dad? I got to model this behavior. If we're out and we see people, I'm energetic. Hey, how are you doing? How are your kids? It's good to see you. I'm giving them eye contact. And these are things that your kids are going to pick up. And these things I'm trying to intentionally teach my kids because I know they're the audience in a lot of these situations. And it's not just the actions, but it's also the words. It's how you talk about work. If you talk about people, how you respond to things that they may see on the news or what other kids say at school. What we want to do is model the good habits that we hope for them to possess as adults. One thing that the kids see me do, me and mom, is we go to the gym. We are a gym family. 4, 5, 6 times a week. We play sports, we watch sports, we try to stay active. So going to the gym, my kids are gonna know, well, dad is working on keeping up with us. Even though he's getting older and we're getting bigger, dad's still fast, dad's still strong, dad still puts in the effort to be physically fit. Dad chooses these foods over these foods to be healthy. Next on the list, we have number 9, which is protect the home environment. What's said in the house, what we allow on screens, what we talk about, the people we talk about, the things we talk about, all of these things you are in charge of 100%. Peace in the home doesn't happen by accident, it's protected. Especially with what's happening in this country and around the world right now, we just don't watch the news with the kids. Yes, we do want to be informed on what's happening, but we don't allow our kids to hear the information and how it's presented. What we want to do is we want to filter the content. A lot of things are not positive for sure. And to wrap up the list at number 10, we want to speak hope over them. We want to tell our kids we believe in them. We stand with them. We're there to be their biggest cheerleaders. We're there to be their advocate. We're there to help them. We believe that their success is a reflection of the effort and the intentionality that we put in as parents. You don't want to do this occasionally. You want to do this often. You want to do this out loud. You want to do this in front of people. Every single sentence can become a lifelong anchor. My dad used to tell me, "You're really smart. You should make straight A's." Even though it went in one direction and I went to strive and perform for acceptance, I also remember that I am smart. So as I got older, nobody could tell me the opposite. Remember, your kids are going to live up to or down to the labels that you give them. So Tim Sr., thank you so much for telling me that I'm smart. Now, this is an extensive list. I don't want you to try to knock out all 10. What I want you to focus on is maybe 1 or 2 of these that really stuck out with you that you may not have known about, and I want you to give it a fair shot. Be committed to trying out one of these 10 things with your kids, and I want you guys to comment back what is your biggest takeaway and what you want to try to do. And if you got some value out of this episode, please share. Please remember to subscribe for updates and turn on the notifications. Until next episode, see ya. Thanks for watching.